test, words, test, words. Ah, there we go. Hello, everybody. I hope everything's working. If it's not, then I'm a little bit sad. Welcome to what is going to be a little bit of a quick stream covering the press conference that Daniel Farke just did, covering the match against West Ham. That is to come this weekend. Now, some of the basics, you've got some injury news, you've got some team news, you've got some little bits on sort of what's going on in terms of like player mentality and stuff at the moment, given the fact that several players haven't made it to the World Cup when they thought they might have done. A little bit of stuff on the contracts that may or may not be receiving extensions in the next few weeks, I suppose. We'll get a time frame in a moment. But first, I'm going to start with the sort of team news bits, because these are the bits that we all sort of expected to be not very good. And yeah, they were not very good, because whilst it was a sort of, have we delved deeper into this injury crisis, it turns out that we might have done so. Which it's a good time to, because let's be honest, it's the end of the season, so any injury crisis isn't that much of an issue because you don't really have to deal with it for long. But it's still worth discussing. So, in terms of players that we have out, Noah Okafor, we all knew was going to be missing. He's been called up for Switzerland, though, which is nice for him. I'll get to that in a minute's time. Anton Stach, still unavailable. The messaging surrounding Anton Stach was that if there was a match next week, he'd be available for that one. But there isn't. So he's not available for West Ham. He would be available next week, but there's nothing going on there, which means he's going to be fine to join up with the Germany squad. Wonderful. A little bit of me wonders if that was a little... Well, I say that he's not going to join up with the Germany squad. A little bit of me wonders if that was a little bit of a sort of poke at the Germany selection committee as a sort of... Yeah, he would have been available, and for some reason you've picked an ageing, not very good Leon Goretzka instead. Good one. I've seen a lot of people sort of have a little bit of a swing at the Germany squad, this being specifically Germans, because they've made some fairly significant mistakes, like Sane being on there despite the fact that he's not really playing at his current club is bizarre when they've got someone called Almala who has, I believe, 14 goals in the Bundesliga this season. It's almost like we've done exactly the same thing with Morgan Gibbs-White and picking Eze instead. Anyway, outside of that, we got Gabby Goodmanson, who is still going to be unavailable, but he's going to be fine for Sweden, which, again, expected that. That one's completely fine, all good. Ilya Gruev, also unavailable, and we have a fresh new injury to discuss, which is Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff has had to have a hernia operation. It's going to take him a little bit of time to recover from that one. Thankfully, he wouldn't be available for the England squad anyway. Well, he wouldn't be picked by England anyway. Good afternoon, Danny. But you know, it's one of those, isn't it? The fact that he's not. It's the end of the season. It's a good time. Hernias tend to be like long-term things, and if it's been affecting him for a while, it's good to get it done now. Takes effectively over the World Cup to recover, and then he's back for effectively a full pre-season, which is pretty damn nice. Got a couple of players that are now in training, but still sort of doubts, which is fine, sort of expected, but it's worth sort of discussing. Jaden Bogle is now back in training. Whether or not he'll be available, we don't know 100% yet. The same applies for Pascal Struijk. Again, be nice to have available. We're not 100% sure. What the team will look like as a result of this is quite hard to tell. Because we have, off the top of my head, 5 central midfielders. We've got Gruev, Longstaff, Stach, Ampadu, Tanaka. And normally you're like, those 5, brilliant, fine, that'll do it. Recently we've been playing with 3 central midfielders. And that list of 5, you lose Longstaff, you lose Gruev, and you lose Anton Stach. You got 2 central midfielders left in Tanaka and Ampadu. Ampadu, who continually gets himself knocks as the season goes on. So, you know what, we'll find out how this one goes. Hopefully everything is fine. I can see us maybe making some adjustments. It might be a case of we see Reece Chadwick in there or something along those lines. Maybe Alfie Cresswell, I don't know. But we've got plenty of ability to play younger players here. I've seen a few people saying that we shouldn't really do that because that would be sort of giving up the ghost and all this kind of stuff. Don't really care that much, to be honest with you. This is a match that is not a let's just survive it kind of job, but it's a match that is don't make anything worse for the players that aren't available, and you can blood in some young players because it's not going to matter too much. Obviously, we want the win because 50 points would be spectacular. Add on to the fact that I have repeatedly predicted since the March international break that we go unbeaten until the end of the season. I want to hold on to that, but I also want to see Spurs go down. So it's a win-win-win, in my opinion. I didn't like it when he said Piru and Aronson could play that. Did he? Oh, that's not good. Good afternoon, person that I'm going to call Jeff, because I'm not giving you the full name, to be honest. Play Barry at fullback and DJ midfield. That's a horrible idea. I think I don't. If Bogle's back, it's going to be Bogle and Justin, I think, but we'll see. Could play 3-4-3 and therefore 2 central midfielders. I don't mind that, but then again, if you've not got Okafor, it's this sort of who's your 3 up top. That's a little bit of a question. I know. However, I'm still not going to say the name of a serial killer because that's how you get demonetized on YouTube. Outside of that, he had a little bit of chat about some of the expiring contracts. As I mentioned, by the way, this is going to be a fairly quickish stream. It's not going to be the longest. My apologies for that, but I have a baby to get back to. In terms of the contract decisions, none of them have properly been made yet. Someone in the YouTube chat for the stream, not for this stream, obviously, but for the press conference, said something along the lines of, if there's no decisions made on contracts, does that mean Daniel Farke's going? It's like, obviously no. Why would Daniel Farke be like, by the way, I might be leaving? No, he's obviously sticking around. It was more decisions will be made with regards to the likes of Darlow, Byram, and the like. Various contract conversations will be had soon, but it'll be after the season is done. He specifically said it's not going to be a matter of weeks, it's going to be days-ish. Specifically, it was like, you might think it'll take a couple of weeks, it'll be before that. So I think, basically, as soon as the season is done, we'll start getting those extension talks, and that's why we'll know where we're at. And that won't just be the ones that are expiring this summer. In my opinion, that'll also be the ones that are expiring beyond that. It'll be the ones that are expiring next year, which includes Ampadu, which includes Strauch, which are, let's be completely honest here, essential to get extended. If we don't get a contract extension on Ethan Ampadu, we've made a serious mistake, and it will ruin us a little bit. I do agree on giving Carl Darlow a new contract. He's changed my mind on him, fairly significantly. Before the season, I thought he's alright, but he's not, significantly better than at the time when I was saying it, Meslier. He didn't have the mistakes in him, but in terms of, the constant level, I thought he was that sort of level. He's proven me wrong, completely. I'm absolutely in the wrong on that one. My bad. Next season, Amp Stroke, Metcha, Aronson, all end. I would say Metcha probably doesn't get an extension. I think Aronson might, but it'll be a case of we wait until he's borderline, done in terms of his contract. Ampadu and Strouk, for me, no doubt, will get new contracts. Ampadu will, Strouk will, I think Darlow will. At the very least, they'll be offered. If they take them or not, I don't know, because I know there's going to be a lot of interest in other clubs wanting to sign Ethan Ampadu, because it's all good sort of dominating in the Championship, but if you can't dominate in the Premier League, then why is a bigger side going to want to go, yeah, we'll sign you? Makes a bit of sense to me. And Farke, obviously Farke, because Farke absolutely deserves a new one. How long is Metch's current contract? Until the end of next season. So I think that one probably is just allowed to expire. I don't see us selling him because I don't see there being much interest for him. But he's done what he wanted to do at Leeds, which was sort of revitalise his career-ish. He's sort of proven that he can hang at the level, not be too injured, which is the important part. But yeah, I don't know. Darlow's better than Perry. I think we've been a little bit harsh on Perry. I think it's going to be a case of, because when we've seen Perry, in terms of the recent cup games, he's been great. He took a little bit of time to adapt, but he's gotten better. And I think people are sticking to the early season, not yet adapted version of Perry as what's in their head, whereas in reality, it takes time to adapt to a new league, new place that you live, new teammates, all this kind of stuff. So I think Darlow, early in the season, I agree, was better. I think late in the season, they're roughly the same in terms of quality, but it's not a case of I would swap them for the sake of swapping them. I don't really see any particular benefit to that. And then he had a little bit of chat. Well, before I get into that, there was a little bit of chat on what the plan is going to be in terms of, do you want to affect what's going on elsewhere in the league? And he basically just said, well, we're going to play our game, and if we win, we win. And that seems to be West Ham's problem, and it will be West Ham's problem because they're not particularly good enough. Daniel Farke did also specifically name Reece Chadwick amongst his possible solutions to the midfield problem that presented itself. Thank you very much, Graham Smith, which is good. Yeah, it's fairly tricky team news. I'll cover it in a little bit more depth in either a stream or a video tomorrow or Saturday, or tomorrow is Saturday, or Sunday. I don't know. I'll do something predicted lineup-y because I think that's going to be quite fun. Pro Leave, I think if a good offer comes in, Sly goes, of course, Sly goes, Sly's always thinking. And finally, there was the fact that various sort of players have been picked for international duty. He said specifically that there aren't really any cases in which he's not picked a player because he wants to sort of preserve them for the World Cup, because that'd be a bit weird. He said that international coaches sort of want to see their players playing minutes, which makes a lot of sense, because if you've got a player where the club is like, no, we promise he's going to be fit and healthy, he is, I swear down, then that's a little bit spooky for you as an international boss, because you're going to look at that and go, well, I've not seen any proof of this. Whereas actually playing them gives them the proof, and it means that there's a higher likelihood of being picked and all that. Also said that he understood the sadness of those that weren't picked by their national teams, specifically Calvert-Lewin and Anton Stach. I think a lot of thoughts on this. I don't know if I'll do a video on it. I don't know if I'll do a stream on it. But I'm going to do something about the World Cup squad. But to give you a little bit of a preview, I think the selection of Ivan Toney is a little bit of an embarrassment. It is a sign that Tuchel looked at his goal-scoring numbers and he went, yeah, that's great. What Tuchel didn't seem to do was realise that the Saudi Pro League is horrible. The standard over there is just non-existent. I have personally watched quite a lot of Saudi Pro League matches for work, and it's not good. Everyone looks at it and goes, oh, Ronaldo's there, João Felix is there, it must be a good league. No, every single Saudi team is only allowed, I believe, in a matchday squad, 5 international players, as in players that aren't from Saudi Arabia, which you go, okay, sure, but at least the level's risen a little bit across the league. It's not across the league. The 4 clubs that have been invested in by the Public Investment Fund are the ones that have the concentrated versions of the good players. And those good players also tend to be attacking players, which means that, in essence, Ivan Toney has played with some very, very good supporting cast members around him, giving him assists against effectively League One centre-backs. And if you're going to be doing that as an international manager, I don't know what we're doing at this point, because there are significantly better players. Welbeck would have been one. Calvert-Lewin is another. I could probably dip down to the likes of Morgan Whittaker, for who might have put up a season as good in the Saudi Pro League. There are countless options, and I think Joe Gelhardt puts on 20 goals in the Saudi Pro League. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Ivan Toney, decent footballer, but also a bit of a prat, and been doing it in a league where it shouldn't really count. Madness. Anyway, that was a weird end to a conversation about Daniel Farke's press conference, but I'm going to leave that roughly there, otherwise I might continue to lose my head a little bit. And I don't really have that much time anyway, so hope you enjoyed anyway. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. It very much helps it to get pushed out after it's done, which is most of the time, I suppose, because it's only been live for 15 minutes. And then all of the rest of time is the rest of the time. So there we go. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Become a channel member if you want to. That'd be lovely. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo. And eventually I'll have some news on a thing that I've been teasing, but it's been pushed back a bit, so we'll see. Anyway, toodaloo.